Spring is in sight, and so are the Academy Awards.
The Osage. They have the worst land possible. But they outsmarted everybody.
At this point last year, it was the topsy-turvy sci-fi family drama Everything Everywhere All at Once that rolled like a freight train into Oscars night, where it came away with 7 Academy Awards, including Best Picture.
I'm teaching something no one here has dreamt of. But once people start hearing what you can do with it...
A year later, another awards juggernaut has emerged.
Are we saying there's a chance that when we push that button, we destroy the world?
Chances are near zero.
Welcome to a special edition of KENS 5 Screen Test. We're taking a look at several of the biggest categories, the tightest races, and the still unfinished drama leading up to the 2024 Academy Awards on March 10th. We'll get to that previously mentioned juggernaut in a second. You might be able to guess what film it is. For now, though, let's start with a different contender who's been cleaning up all awards season in the Best Supporting Actress field. This year, the nominees are Emily Blunt for Oppenheimer, Danielle Brooks for The Color Purple, America Ferrera for Barbie, Jodie Foster for Nyad, and Divine Joy Randolph for The Holdovers. Ferrera's nomination was a surprise here, if only because Margot Robbie missed out on an acting nomination of her own. And it feels like Foster snuck her way into this race based on sheer goodwill alone. Still, this feels like Randolph's race to lose after stealing nearly every scene in a movie full of standout performances.
Do you by chance have cherries?
Yes.
Great. And do you have ice cream?
Yes.
Fantastic. Can we please get cherries and ice cream to go?
And the check.
Right away.
Randolph has shown off her comedic chops in movies like Dolomite Is My Name and The Lost City. The Holdovers is a movie about characters in self-imposed emotional exile, and as a boarding school cook trying to climb her way out of grief, she's able to buff her talents for wringing laughs out of the audience with an ability to follow them up with some tears too. But an upset isn't entirely out of the question, starting with Emily Blunt.
That's happening, isn't it?
The world will remember this day.
Blunt could ride the Oppenheimer wave to a win, just like Ferrera could ride the Margot Robbie snub conversation to a few more votes. But the Oscars occasionally reward a breakout performance, and Randolph's expected win will be deserved. Things are about as wrapped up over in Best Supporting Actor, where the nominees are Sterling K. Brown for American Fiction, Robert De Niro for Killers of the Flower Moon, Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer, Ryan Gosling for Barbie, and Mark Ruffalo for Poor Things. It's an unusually healthy mix of comedic and dramatic performances vying for Oscar gold. Here we have an elder Hollywood statesman playing one of the most devious figures in American history and one of the industry's foremost leading men with a self-deprecating performance for the ages.
One appendectomy,
But I'm a man.
but not a doctor.
Can I talk to a doctor?
You are talking to a doctor.
And I need a clicky pen?
No.
A sharp thing?
No.
There he is. Doctor!
Somebody get security.
I thought I might stay
If you're looking for someone to play potential spoiler in this race, look no further than Sterling K. Brown. His impressive TV pedigree has translated seamlessly to a wide-ranging Hollywood career, and American Fiction offers a compelling showcase of his range. Gosling is also widely loved, though his is a purely comedic performance in Barbie, and those rarely come out on top. A third Oscar win would be deserving for De Niro here. He personifies violent greed terrifyingly well in Killers of the Flower Moon. And though he'd be my pick to win, it's hard to build a case against Robert Downey Jr., who helps anchor Oppenheimer as a drama of political consequence and reckoning. He soared high as Iron Man, and he'll soar higher when he wins on March 10th.
I gave him exactly what he wanted. To be remembered for Trinity. Not Hiroshima. Not Nagasaki. He should be thanking me.
Now, can we keep the Oppenheimer train rolling in Best Lead Actor? The party might be crashed by another performer who is well respected and always at the top of his game. In Best Lead Actor, the nominees are Bradley Cooper for Maestro, Coleman Domingo for Rustin, Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers, Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer, and Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction. Let's start with the Cooper factor.
If summer doesn't sing in you, then nothing sings in you. And if nothing sings in you, then you can't make music.
Aside from the fact that Hollywood has historically awarded biopic performances, and aside from the fact Cooper probably should have won Best Actor years ago for A Star is Born, Maestro is a passion project from an actor-director who wanted to upend the traditional biopic form. And given that actor and director are the same person here, Oscars voters could view awarding Cooper as doubly meaningful in this category, especially when Maestro simply has little to no shot at recognition elsewhere. It's also hard not to daydream about Jeffrey Wright achieving Oscar glory.
Yeah. Wait a minute, why are these books here?
I'm not sure. I would imagine that this author, Ellison, is black.
That's me, Ellison. Yeah. He is me, and he and I are black.
Hello, Paula.
Here are just some of the projects Jeffrey Wright has appeared in over the past few years. Asteroid City, The Batman, No Time to Die, the James Bond film, Westworld, The Last of Us. In other words, he's been everywhere and can probably do anything. American Fiction taps into his skills as a romantic, dramatic, and comedic presence. When it comes to who will win on March 10th, however, it's really down to Murphy and Paul Giamatti.
I can tell by your faces that many of you are shocked at the outcome. I, on the other hand, am not, because I have had the misfortune of teaching you this semester, and even with my ocular limitations, I witnessed firsthand your glazed, uncomprehending expressions.
Sir, I don't understand.
That's glaringly apparent.
I'm so happy people love the movie.
Giamatti has been keeping busy with the TV show Billions and bit parts in otherwise forgettable movies. Then came The Holdovers, a reunion with director Alexander Payne that many have anointed a new Christmas classic. That remains to be seen, but it's certainly Giamatti's most fully realized performance in years. He plays a bully boarding school teacher whose cold heart is slowly defrosted over winter break. There are at least two more names that should be part of this conversation: Leonardo DiCaprio for Killers of the Flower Moon and Andrew Scott for All of Us Strangers. In their absence, the most deserving performance is another one of internal reckoning and subdued devastation. And that's Murphy, who is as commanding as he's ever been in virtually every scene of Oppenheimer. It's a tight race between him and Giamatti, but the Irish lad has won more precursor honors and will most likely come out on top.
Our bodies, mostly empty space. Groupings of tiny energy waves bound together. I'm teaching something no one here has dreamt of. But once people start hearing what you can do with it...
For the second year in a row, the tightest of the acting races is over in Best Lead Actress, and what the two frontrunners brought to the big screen couldn't be more different. For Best Lead Actress, the nominees are Annette Bening for Nyad, Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon, Sandra Hüller for Anatomy of a Fall, Carey Mulligan for Maestro, and Emma Stone for Poor Things.
There's an investigation for a more suspicious death because you were the only person there. And of course, you're his wife.
Stop. I did not kill him.
If we were talking about the year's most accomplished actors, Hüller would win in a landslide after giving two very different, very haunting performances in Anatomy of a Fall and The Zone of Interest, both, by the way, nominated for Best Picture. Mulligan is way overdue, but she's more forceful than interesting as Felicia Montelegre in Maestro. And while Benning's sheer physicality as swimmer Diana Nyad will get her some votes, not even the Netflix factor has been able to get that film any momentum. So it comes down to two actresses, one a household name who's taken on increasingly eccentric roles, the other with a shot at making history.
He told me you was going with Matt Williams for a time.
You talk too much.
Me never lived outside God's house.
What?
So Bella's so much to discover. And your sad face makes me discover angry feelings for you.
Right.
Emma Stone and Lily Gladstone are neck and neck. Stone has a shot at winning her second Oscar at just 35 after playing a reanimated woman with the brain of a child, learning about the world's pleasures and its pains. Her performance is the main attraction of Poor Things, fueled by a kind of profound playfulness that informs everything else around it. Gladstone, meanwhile, has a hold on the horrific events of Killers of the Flower Moon, even when she's not on screen.
to kill these white men who killed my family. I need you here.
I am right here.
As Osage tribe member Molly Burkhart, she's bearing witness to the quiet genocide of her people, personifying the weight of a dark period in American history. Both actresses are young, will almost certainly contend again in the future, and have an equal shot at winning on Oscars night. But I'm putting my chips on Gladstone and betting the Academy will want to make the first Native American nominated in this category also the first Native American actress to win it. On to Best Director now, where no matter what you thought of the movies themselves, it's hard to argue that this isn't one of the most compelling slates of nominees this category has seen in the past 20 years, each of them emphasizing different elements of movie making to astounding effect. Up for Best Director this year is Justine Triet for Anatomy of a Fall, Martin Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon, Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer, Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things, and Jonathan Glazer for The Zone of Interest. For all that's different between these movies, each was directed by an artist who sought to capture some harrowing truth about the world and ventured to create that mood in their filmmaking. Even Poor Things, which can be called a comedy, tells a story of liberation through the eyes of a woman learning about the selfishness everywhere around her.
I am Bella Baxter, and there is a world to enjoy, circumnavigate. It is the goal of all to progress.
How delightful.
Yet if ever an Oscar-winning director were overdue for another Academy Award, it's certainly the case this year with Martin Scorsese. He's entered a new era in his legendary career that recontextualizes earlier classics like Taxi Driver, Mean Streets, and Raging Bull. Killers of the Flower Moon not only puts the psychological power of those films in a new light, Scorsese also acknowledges the storytelling limits of a particular perspective and shows in his own words why more voices are desperately needed.
I work with my uncle.
You scared of him?
Oh, he's the nicest man in the world. The Osage, their time is over. We got to take back control of our home.
And yet, Marty will have to settle for the reality that his movie is likelier to have an enduring legacy than one immediately validated in Oscar gold. This year, Best Director is Nolan's to lose after shepherding a nearly $1 billion blockbuster that's mostly men talking in rooms, backed by deeply resonant themes about complicity and the cost of genius. Oppenheimer is technically dazzling, it's extremely memorable, and it's been a long time coming for Nolan.
I don't want to leave this stage without you all understanding how much this means to me. The idea that my peers would think that I deserve this means everything to me. Thank you very much. Thank you.
A Best Director win for Nolan will also be a coming full circle moment for the Academy itself. After all, it was his landmark Batman movie The Dark Knight missing out on Best Picture in 2009 that spurred the Oscars to increase the field to 10 nominees, thus inviting in more mainstream fare that's agreeable with voters as well. Circle it in Sharpie. Christopher Nolan is already preparing his Best Director speech. But will he return to the stage for the final prize of the night? Before we look at the frontrunners and potential dark horse candidates in the Best Picture race, let's take a moment to acknowledge the films that should have gotten more love in this year's nominations, and surely will with time.
I think I feel more at home outside the Earth's atmosphere.
Oh, wow. Me too. They're strange, aren't they? They're children.
Among the unloved this year is Wes Anderson's striking and superbly shot Asteroid City, Sofia Coppola's haunting biopic Priscilla, with one of the year's best performances from Kaylee Spaney, the wrestling family tragedy The Iron Claw, and finally, the ghostly drama All of Us Strangers, which may very well contain the best performance of the year from Andrew Scott.
Is this real?
Does it feel real?
Our boys back home?
Our son. Look at you. You were just a boy. And now you're not.
It was a long time ago.
I don't think that matters.
And now for the big one, the grand prize, the most coveted of Academy Awards, and a race that might already be decided. This year, the Best Picture nominees are American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. Let's identify the long-shot candidates first. Those include American Fiction, Maestro, and Past Lives, movies that are well-liked or otherwise made by well-liked people, but haven't had enough momentum on their side. We can also lump The Zone of Interest into this category, though its inclusion here is worth acknowledging. Not long ago, it would have been unimaginable that an unflinching movie about the Holocaust without a traditional plot or structure would have been nominated. But times are changing, and if a movie this bold can be recognized, perhaps it can someday win too.
Die herrliche Zeit, die mir gemütlich im gastlichen Hause als Verliebten wird immer mit zu unseren schönsten Urlaubserinnerungen gehören. Im Osten steht unser Morgen. Herzlichen Dank für eure nationalsozialistische Gastfreundschaft.
Closer to the front of the pack is Barbie and the Holdovers, two films likely to win an award or two on Oscar night, but two films with too strong a comedic tone for the Academy to hand its biggest prize to. Voters prefer movies that'll make them think or cry for Best Picture over the ones that make them laugh. And despite everything it's got going for it, Killers of the Flower Moon has likely fallen out of legitimate contention as well. Maybe Scorsese needs to slow down his pace for the Academy to stop taking him for granted.
Did your wife say who she was most afraid of?
Don't do something you're going to regret for the rest of your life.
That leaves three movies that have checked all the right boxes to position themselves for Best Picture glory. They've remained in the conversation, they're nominated in key categories, and they've got strong pedigrees behind them. And yet, for how much the Academy loves a good surprise and seems to love both Anatomy of a Fall and Poor Things, neither of those movies have been able to overtake the spotlight from Oppenheimer, despite the advantage of a later release date.
Are we saying there's a chance that when we push that button, we destroy the world?
Chances are near zero.
Near zero.
What do you want for theory alone?
Zero would be nice.
It would be one of the more astounding developments if anything beats Oppenheimer for Best Picture. Just like the furious momentum of its storytelling, it's an award season frontrunner that simply hasn't stumbled and should be the night's biggest winner come March 10th.
The world will remember this day.
Our work here will ensure a peace mankind has never seen.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
And that does it for this year's preview of Hollywood's biggest night. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy the show. Make sure to fill out your Oscars ballots beforehand. And remember that for ongoing coverage on all things movies, visit kens5.com/screentest. I'm David Lynch. See you next time.